Welcome, Luminary, to another episode of Star Powered. Today, I want to go over this upcoming Leo new moon that is woven so tightly with our Mercury retrograde and our upcoming Mars Jupiter conjunction. All of these three aspects, energies in the sky in August, is going to help you rekindle your radiance, your visibility, and your leadership, and to spread and share love. Welcome to Star Powered Astrology for Changemakers. I'm Leslie Tagorda, your guide, a Hawaii-born Filipino Jewish astrologer who loves navigating visionaries like you through the spiritual journey of your work so that you can be inspired to lead by your chart and become the luminary leader you were born to be. All right, luminaries, welcome back. I know there's been quite a few episodes recently because there's been so much going on in the sky. And August 4th, the day of our new moon, is one of those peaks in our very busy month of August. Now, when I think about Leo energy, because ultimately, when we're thinking about a new moon, us as change makers, us as leaders, as us as looking to liberate our personal free will, we need this Leo energy. Leo, of course, ruled by the sun. I love that we have the two new moons, the Cancer new moon and the Leo new moon back to back in during the summer, both the luminaries. First, that Cancer new moon feeding us what we need to nourish ourselves to feel emotionally secure, and then that Leo energy allowing us to radiate forth confidently, brilliantly, right? All that radiance. Now, when I think about Leo, of course, it is the sovereign, it is royalty, it is about being seen, it's about being courageous, taking creative, bold action. It's about having our own willpower. And so, of course, Leo is one of those energies that it's like directly related to what we think of as being a leader. But even if you don't necessarily see yourself as a leader, impacting millions, right? We are still here leaders in our own circles, in our own communities. And one of the greatest gifts of this sovereign energy of Leo is to radiate love. Right? Leo rules the heart center. It's about our magnetism. And when we are thinking about this new cycle with our new moon and manifesting what we create, what we want, we have to think first what we desire, what we want more of, and put those words out into the world. At this time in our cosmic universe, our world, and of course, I'm here in the United States, there has never been a time to spread love, to spread more unity and bringing people together, bringing understanding, opening up hearts, opening up perspectives. And so this takes each one of us to have the courage to be able to share our beliefs, share our purpose, share our big whys, share our philosophy. And this new moon has everything that you need to support us so that we can put more good into the world. As this election cycle gets going, things are likely going to get very divisive, very ugly. And if we are putting those thoughts and those words into the collective, then we are going to be part of creating that. So, how can we individually opt out and make the change that we need to make? And this comes back to your Leo new moon. All right. So the sun and the moon, they meet up at Leo of 12 degrees on Sunday morning, August 4th, 4:13 a.m. Pacific, for 7:13 a.m. Eastern. And shortly after, we have Mercury changing directions and going retrograde. So for all intents and purposes, and I'll show you the chart of this new moon in just a little bit if you're watching on YouTube. For all intents and purposes, this Mercury retrograde or this Mercury is stationed. It's not yet switched gears, but it has come to a complete stop. And so I'm grateful that this day is a Sunday, traditionally not a work day. If you have to work on this day, if you have to be out and about and traveling and commuting and doing all those things, make sure you're creating a lot of space and not trying to rush from one thing to the next, because it's going to be a day where our thinking might not be so linear and might not be so clear, but it's going to be an optimal time to go within and start to rethink and reflect and reorganize. And so on this day, this is the perfect day to put together some thoughts, some reflections for what you want in your Leo energy. Now, this meeting of the two luminaries, again, the sun in its home sign of Leo and Mercury in its home sign of Virgo, coming to a complete stop, it's a powerful day. It really is just a peak energy to go inward and notice what needs reviving, rekindling in your life and leadership so you can exude your joyful brilliance. I know that there is one time, at least one time in your life, where you felt completely radiant, completely confident, completely on top of the world, completely like there was nothing that could get into your way. And because we're in this Mercury retrograde, which is going to have us reorganize and reinstate some of the patterns and procedures and routines from our past, this idea of rekindling is reclaiming and remembering when in your life you were on top of the world. So think about a time where you were recognized for your accomplishment, or you had all of the lights on you because you were on stage doing something that you loved, or remembering a time where your visibility was on the rise and peaking and your reputation was growing, or your creativity was open and soaring and you felt so confident, so vital, so alive, so joyful. That is Leo, my friend. And so, this idea of the theme for this Leo new moon, for me being rekindling your radiance, is because even though we're starting a new cycle, we're not necessarily starting something new. We are reigniting something that's already in you. Now, when we have our Leo new moon, it of course is indeed about getting a fresh intention, intending what we want in this new cycle based on joy, creativity, presence, and love. Of course, that's what we want in a great leader, what we look up to, people that we love and adore. All Leo words, right? Joy, creativity, courage, presence, love, exuberance. We don't want to watch somebody who's painting and going, oh, this kind of sucks, or playing music and they're going, wow, this is boring, right? We get lit up when we watch people who are lit up by what they are doing. And you too have that. So, what I've been thinking a lot, and I haven't fully landed on, um, I've been still playing with, and I haven't fully come to a complete concept about what does liberation mean to me, but I'm getting closer to it. And it's really ultimately for me about personal liberation and choosing who we get to be, how we lead our lives, what our strengths outside of what society or culture tells us what to do. We're breaking free from these societal expectations. And so when I think about the Leo part of this in our new moon intention, is to really come back to and cultivate that joy that lights you up from within. What did you used to love doing that you did on a regular basis? Maybe you have to think back to your childhood. Maybe you just have to think back to a couple of years ago before the pandemic, whatever that was. There was a time in your life when you had that joy that lit you up from within. I want you to also think about that Leo creativity, right? I've had some clients that say, oh, I'm not creative. There's not a creative bone in my body. And I'm like, creativity isn't just about painting or music. You might be creative in the way that you put a spreadsheet together. You might be creative in the way that you tackle problems. You might be creative in the ways that you have tenacity to keep going and pushing your body to do like triathlons or something. we all have creativity. And so understanding that creativity and seeing it as your creative source, right? That's the sun. If you've ever taken a class from me before, we always start with the sun. And that sun is that energy that is life giving, that lights us up from within. That's why I call it that radiance. But sometimes we have to put fuel back into our cup so that we have more energy to burn, right? And that's creativity. Now, when we have that joy and creativity, then we can grow into that confidence, that Leo confidence, confidence in our value, confidence in our worth, confidence in the strengths, confidence in what we are here to contribute that comes from. Yes, your sun sign, my friends. This is not just about Leo energy, but wherever your sun lies in your chart by house, by sign, by aspect, that sun is the director of your Leo. So that house where your sun is in is directly related to the house in your chart that is ruled by Leo. So for me, I have Leo on my third house cusp, my sun in the ninth house. So of course, when I'm here to share my voice, that third house voice, I'm doing my best to share it with aloha and love and excitement, and also opening up people's mind to their purpose, to their own philosophies, and to sharing it with the wider world because my sun is in Aquarius and in the ninth house. So connect those dots for you so that you can see your value, so you can see your strength, so you can see your zone of genius. See which house rules Leo, and then notice which house contains your sun sign, and connect the dots between the meaning of those two houses and see how that ups your own value, your own strength, your own zone of genius. When you can notice and not dismiss your strengths, right? Really embrace and reclaim your strengths. Even, like if your strengths are, you always know the right skincare to wear, or your strengths are you make a mean sourdough bread. I'm talking to you, my new friends. Or your strength might be, playing. Right now, my son would say that his strengths are swimming or playing soccer. Whatever your strengths are, know them, claim them, and understand that this is inherently part of you that creates your overall confidence. Because when that confidence grows, then your courage grows. Your courage to do the right thing, the courage to contribute and share, that courage to speak up, that courage to be visible, that courage to show up, that courage to shine bright. That sun is always there. So we're just moving away the clouds right now. Okay, so that's the Leo. So confidence to courage, courage to presence. Last year when I was exploring this idea of Leo, I had run into I'd run into Jason Momoa at Costco. I didn't really run into him at Costco. He was doing a promotion there. I stood in line, and the thing that you notice first and foremost about him, besides his absolutely he's just a massive person and just so charming and filled with aloha spirit, but he has this presence. He is just so happy to see people. He's confident, he's bold, he's taking in all the love. He happens to be a Leo also. And so we all can have that presence that makes people turn their heads when you walk into a room, because that presence is built on that courage, which is built on your confidence, which is built on your creativity, which is built on you finding that joy. So see how all of these Leo energies, they're all required. You have to put them all in, because when that presence finally shines through, what is left is love, heart-centered love. Our universe, I'm going to come back to this idea of love, because this idea of love has definitely been sparking in me again, as I want to bring people together instead of separate people apart, even if we have differing opinions. And so joy, creativity, confidence, courage, presence, love. We all need this to be our, inner leaders so we can choose the directions that we want to go, or leaders on a greater level where we are guiding our clients, or leaders on the collective where we're impacting hundreds, thousands of millions, wherever you are on that spectrum. To know your Leo-ness and to know how you want to shine brilliantly in this next cycle, this is going to be important, especially as we enter one of the most splintering times the United States and the world has ever seen. So you, I, all of us will need to commit to a daily practice of reigniting, rekindling, and retending your courage and free will to speak up to your values and for what is right. Okay, so that's the gist, the overall idea of this Leo new moon. But let me pull up the chart of this Leo new moon because it's quite interesting, at least to me. So remember, what I said was that this Leo new moon was really related to both Mercury retrograde and the upcoming Mars Jupiter conjunction. Now, pay attention just to the aspects here. This chart is cast from San Francisco. When I created this chart, I was in San Francisco. If you're watching on video, you might notice that my background is different. I'm still in Hawaii right now. And so wherever you are in the world, this chart is the house calculations are gonna be a little bit different for you. At the time of this Leo new moon, we have this Mercury retrograde that is stationing. This Leo new moon to me is very related, woven in with this Mercury retrograde, because Mercury retrograde, if you listen to my last episode, is in Virgo is about reorganizing our lives to reintegrate, reinstate some of the practices, some of the rituals, some of the routines that we might have fallen off of, whether this be in our inner lives, our personal lives, like health and wellness or spirituality, as well as our outer lives, the things that we did to increase our visibility or increase our connection so that we could show up for our people. Speaking about people, quick commercial. I just wanted to remind you and invite you to my upcoming free masterclass. Change the name. I was kind of like when I made the announcement last time, I didn't settle on a name yet, but I have now settled on a name, and it's called Captivate. Captivate is going to be a masterclass so that you can call in and connect to your soul collaborators, your soul co-creators, and of course, your soul customers. So if you've been looking to create more connection and captivate your people, then this free masterclass is for you. We'll be doing this on Tuesday, August 13th at 2 p.m. Pacific. Of course, there's going to be a replay available, but if you want a chance at me giving you a mini reading, you'll have to show up live and stay all the way to the end. So if you're interested in calling in your people and creating much more aligned and deep, honest relationships with your soul customers, your soul collaborators, and your people, then this is the workshop for you. Head on over to my website, starpowered.com/captivate and sign up for free. Okay, so this Mercury retrograde, again, wants you to reorganize your life so that you can reinstate the practices that brought you joy and upped you courage. I was sharing with a client earlier about when about 8 years ago, when I met my husband through yoga. And at the time I was going to yoga 3 or 4 times a week. I was really religious about it. I was like, this was my happy place. I was working through a lot of emotional things. I was just going to yoga on a regular basis gave me so much physical strength and flexibility, and that physical strength and flexibility rippled forth to my mental strength and flexibility, which rippled out to my emotional strength and flexibility as I was just moving all of the stuck emotions that were in my hips. I was crying during pigeon pose for months because I was just releasing all of this stored up grief. And of course, the spiritual aspect of connecting breath to body with yoga. Once I had my kid, I had to cut back on yoga and I was going once or twice a week. And then the pandemic happened and I loved going to classes and I just didn't enjoy doing it online. And so I fell off the horse of yoga. And now, knowing that there's this Mercury retrograde coming up to reinstate something that I used to love, that brought me so much joy, that brought me so many, that joy just amplified in my life, I want to return to that. And so when we think about this Mercury retrograde that's going to be going back from 4 degrees of Virgo to 21 degrees of Leo, this is not about, crafting and reorganizing something in your life that you've never done before, but this is about bringing back and reclaiming something that you used to love, that brought you so much joy, and prioritizing that reorganizing your life. Just like my yoga teacher would say, it's like, she's like, reorganize your life around yoga. If you know that yoga class is at 6 every, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and like 4 on Sundays, everything else has to like fit in around that. And you know what? I did that on Sundays before I started going to yoga. I remember back in my middle, early 30s, on Sundays, we would just like go get boozy brunch and we'd like drink the whole day, and I'd be terrible on Monday. It was just such a bad habit. But when I reorganized my life around yoga, I wasn't able to do that boozy brunch anymore because I had to be really with it for yoga at 4 p.m. And then after 4 p.m., I would go with my yoga friends and we would have this beautiful, healthy dinner, and we maybe had a glass of wine. And I look back at those times and I was like, those times brought me so much joy. So this Mercury retrograde is asking you to reorganize your life to bring you back those pieces of joy, Leo, that's going to help you with your leadership and your visibility. Now, on the business perspective, right? Because when we're thinking about our leadership as well, our leadership and our inner healing are parallel paths, that the more that you can take care of your inner well-being, mental, spiritual, emotional, physical, the better off you're going to be with your leadership. You're going to have that ripple effect is going to portray into how your presence and how you act in the world and the kind of courage that you have. And so the more work that you do on taking care of yourself, the better off your outward leadership is going to be. So Mercury retrograde is also saying, hey, you got to this success here. Somehow you built up your visibility, you built up your mailing list, you built up your ability to speak on stages, whatever it is. And so maybe you've fallen off the horse. Maybe you've fallen off a regular schedule of posting or sending emails or regular check-ins and follow-ups with clients, or going after leads, or inviting people to coffee talks, or whatever it is that you used to do. And so think about what you want to reinstate that's going to help you up your Leo visibility. Okay, so 2 ways: up your joy and confidence, and up your visibility, and reinstating and refashioning in a new way something that you've done before. So that's how Mercury retrograde is helping us. Now, on the day that Mercury dips back into Leo, that's August 14th, we are going to have a Mars-Jupiter conjunction. Okay. Now, at the time of the Leo new moon is making a sextile to the midway point between this wide conjunction. Currently, or for the Leo new moon, we have a 6-degree orb between Mars and Jupiter. And by the time Mercury comes back into Leo and we're working and, activating and telling the universe that we mean business by actually doing the things, not just wishing the things, right? This Mars Jupiter is really going to then also come into action. And so this sextile to Mars Jupiter means that there is an opportunity. So I want to talk about this Mars Jupiter a little bit, because while this energy is not exact, it's not going to be exact until 10 days from the new moon, August 14th. When we have these aspects forming and then fading. We can think of this as like a literal wave. Like if you can see in the back of like my video right here, there's like the Pacific Ocean back there. And when you notice the waves coming forth, like they build up, and the bigger the wave is, the further back it builds up. And it's building and building and building and building, and then it crests. That's the exact peak. And then it decays and it falls away. But then we have this big on ramp, and we have the crest, and then we have that off ramp. That entire time, that energy is starting to activate, it's starting to build. And so at this time, this new moon is at that midway point. And so to me, this energy is thoroughly integrated into this new moon. And so when we think about the gift of Mars, or the process of Mars and the process of Jupiter, whew, let's talk about that for just a little bit. Mars is the energy to activate, it's the energy to motivate, advocate, energize. And on the same coin, on the opposite end, it is also the same energy to incite. Incite fear, incite anger, incite war. Okay. So you see where I'm going with this? That Mars energy, it's a tool. And it can be a tool that's used for good, or it can be constructive, or it can be a tool used for destruction. How are we going to choose to use that Mars energy? And Jupiter. Okay. Jupiter, of course, is the planet of expansion. And at its high end, it gives us hope, it gives us optimism, it gives us meaning and purpose and philosophy, and like deeper understanding of those greater questions. Why? But on the opposite end of the coin, on that shadow side, Jupiter is the same energy that inflates. Okay. It can inflate prejudice, it can inflate my way or the highway and judgment. It can inflate this kind of dogma and forcing beliefs down people's throats. Okay. So neither of Mars or Jupiter is neither like good or bad on its own. It's just that they both have the energy to be able to construct and make and create, or destruct and destroy. So, what I'm saying for all of us here is that when Mars and Jupiter comes together, they want us to understand that when you use your voice to state your beliefs, to do the right thing, and share your philosophy and your big why, this is going to help you expand your leadership and expand your visibility. Okay. And so when you think about this new moon and your intention, I also want you to think about the opportunities you want to create for yourself, so that you can use your voice, amplify your message, and take that opportunity to do the right thing. What we can control is using our voice to activate and expand in all of the right ways, to be inclusive, to love diversity, to honor and respect all cultures and all beliefs, and to share our big whys, to create whys, WHYS, to create deeper meaning, purpose, and understanding. Okay, we have a choice of how we want to use this energy. So those two big things, we have that Mercury retrograde, as well as the Mars and Jupiter coming through. Now, I really want you to shine brightly with confidence, joy, creative contribution, and love. I want you to take your personal courage and open it up to presence. I want you to go into your community and ripple it forward, igniting the light in others through your creative joy. And I want your community to ripple out even further into society, so that we can all lead with our heart. That is my true wish for this upcoming Leo new moon. Before I go into the Leo personalizations for all signs, if you want to join me for this upcoming Leo new moon ceremony. I'll be sharing this in my private group, Star Powered Circle. But if you wanted to get a sample of what that's like to work in my community and be with us in ceremony, I invite you to attend my ceremony where we'll be discussing this upcoming or this Leo new moon as well as the Mercury retrograde so we can set our intentions together. This will be happening on Zoom at 11 a.m. on Monday, August 5th. So if you want access or if you want to join us, please come. You'll get a worksheet, you'll get a reflection book on everything about the Leo new moon and the Mercury retrograde from Virgo to Leo. So sign up at my website, starpower.com. It's on the homepage, just a little bit down. You can sign up for the Leo new moon ritual. Okay, let's go through the different personalizations for all signs. Now, first and foremost, if you know where 12 degrees of Leo exists in your chart, I want you to listen for the house that is being activated. So, with this Leo new moon, remember you are planting the seeds to rekindle and reignite your joy, courage, and radiance in your life and your leadership. If you are an Aries, or maybe have that fifth house being activated by Leo of 12 degrees, you're planting the seeds for creative and cultivated pleasure passion projects. What I mean by that is I want you to start looking at all the things that you used to love doing that didn't have a reason for all. You didn't have to make money off of it or anything. You just loved doing it. If you need help, think back to when you were a child and bring back those passion projects and make sure you're making time in your regular routines to cultivate your passions. If you are a Taurus rising or have 12 degrees of Leo in your fourth house, you're planting the seeds in your most loving inner circles, whether this be your private communities or your family or your family, meaning your friends that are your family or your home. This is about you making regular time to spend in your most intimate, private spaces. If you're a Gemini rising or have that third house being activated, just like me, you are cultivating a practice to share your vibrant voice and engaging dialogue. If you've fallen off the horse, like me, about showing up and being more visible and speaking from your heart, this is your time to plant those seeds to share your vibrant message. If you're Cancer rising or have that second house being activated by Leo of 12 degrees, this is for you to plant the seeds in your heart centered values and investments. Make sure that you're delivering on value. Make sure that you're checking your banking accounts on the regular. Make sure that you're investing and putting money and spending your money on the things that truly bring you joy, Leo joy. If you're a Leo rising or have your first house being activated by 12 degrees of Leo, this is time for you to up your personal brand and your style. So if you've gotten away from buying yourself regular clothes or getting your hair done regularly, that's on the personal side for sure. This is you. And if on the leadership side, this is you really putting some finishing touches and making sure that your brand is getting out there, that your leadership and your style is being seen and heard. For my Virgo rising friends, or if you have the 12th house activation, this is a time to make a regular practice of blissful rest and retreat. Now, with Leo there on the 12th house, I can imagine dance parties as being a part of your retreat and your rest. Remember, retreats and rest don't always have to be just sitting or relaxing or taking a naps. Retreats and rest look like different things for all of us, but this is really for you to make a regular practice of doing things that restore you. For my 11th house friends or my Libra risings, this is about you putting regular attention into your communities and your social impact. Remember, your people that you love surrounding yourself with, your friends, your greater networks, your communities, They are these Leo, vibrant, passionate, excited people. And the social impact that you are making is heart-centered. It's about taking care of the inner child and our visibility. Scorpio rising, or having that 10th house, that midheaven, or 10th house and midheaven being activated, this is absolutely about your courageous visibility, influence, and reputation. How do you want people to spread the word and refer you? When I think about influence and reputation, I'm always thinking about word of mouth, right? What do you wish people were saying about you? How do you wish the ripple effect of the offers that you're putting out and how you're serving others? What is that you want to influence and change through that courageous visibility? Sagittarius rising, or if you have that 9th house being activated, this is for you to rekindle your radiant purpose and expanding your cause. What have you been doing, or what had you been doing that you'd fallen off of that you want to bring back so you can reignite and rekindle, expanding your vision? Capricorn rising, or 8th house, your joy is your power. The more fun and creative and pleasure you have, the more you heal your inner child and your inner power. So Capricorn risings, this is time for you to make a practice of healing through creativity and joy. Aquarius risings, or if you have that 7th house, this is about your creative partnerships, soul clients, and people, just like that masterclass. So if you're Aquarius rising or you have that 7th house, you better sign up for my masterclass, starpower.com/captivate. But if this is for you, this is about putting practice in to connect to your creative partnerships and passionate soul clients. So tending to them, reaching out and inviting new people in, creating affiliates and things like that. This is for you, for my Aquarius rising or 7th house people. And lastly, Pisces rising, or if you have Leo of 12 degrees in the 6th house, this is absolutely about your joyful routines and creative operations. I would say that I get this feeling that I want you to work more on this kind of inner personal health and wellness journey, because that is going to really ripple into your work. The more centered you are because you are creating joyful routines for yourself, the more centered you are going to be more productive and creative in your leadership and your work and your business. All right, my friends. So again, I want you to remember that this Leo new moon, we have choices. We have choices to make. And when we make these choices, we have to look at what we can control and what we can't control. What you can control is your own personal liberation. So lead with joy so you can light up from within, so that you can fill your cup with creativity that grows your confidence in your value and your strengths, that ripples into your courage to speak up and do the right thing, that adds to your presence that is magnanimous, that grows into love that is accepting to all. All right, my friends, we are at a very important time in history, and we can make our own choices. Thank you so much for listening. Have a most beautiful Leo new moon. As a human design projector, my energy shines more brightly because of people like you who share my work. If you enjoy this podcast and want to help build a movement of innovative astrology and leadership and spark the intuitive revolution, please rate and review this podcast on Apple Podcasts, or better yet, share this podcast with your change-making besties. We will all shine brighter together as we create the future we want to see.